Here we go with Golden Pit, guys. We have Ant-Man's home map. It's not Empire Wars anymore, that's just the first game. So, but the players are the same, the Ant-Man versus AR12. Now, AR12 here as the Mayans. Let me fast forward to catch the live game time here. And on the other side, the Ant-Man with Tatars. Interesting, new Tatars are pretty darn strong. You have that heal bonus, so you could always fall back towards the edges here if you want to exploit that extra heal bonus damage for Tatars. They have an amazing boom potential in the fact that in the feudal age, TC will instantly spawn 2 sheep, giving you 100 plus 50 food per sheep. And then for each TC you build during the game, you get another 2 sheep spawning on each TC build. Lots of extra free food to take into consideration there, but especially those 2 sheep spawning in the feudal age is going to boost your food income simply because you or boost your economy in general, simply because you could delay going into farms even further than when starting with a typical 8 sheep. Not to mention that Tatars get 50% more food off all herdables like sheep. But you can't really deny that Mayans are strong as well. They have great mobility in Plume Archers and Eagle Warriors as needed as the game goes on. But most notably, and probably why AR12 picks them, cheaper archers, strong economy in the resources last longer, and yeah, a wide tech tree aside from missing cavalry. In the Ant-Man's case, he would either go cavalry or cav archers though, and cav archers usually more an option for big masses in the Imperial Age, but for Tatars it might be a bit of an exception. They get Thumb Ring for free instantly once they reach Castle Age, and then you'd have some amazing raiding potential on the map of the other player. Something that could be exploited here as well, because AR12 has a goal there. This is pretty safe, no matter how you choose to wall off here. You just wall off your left-hand side here, and you should be okay. But this one, a lot more forward for AR12. Not out of the question to somehow wall that in as well, but it is certainly a challenge to save this one. But you have this gold to get you started. That's a total of 2,400 gold in this pile there, and eventually you'll have to fight for the middle anyway. So whoever controls the middle will be able to produce gold units, whereas the other one will run out of gold, and that's usually what decides the game in the end. There's a limit to how far you can take trash fights. So no significant idle time to be talking about here. I'll have a small look at the scouting here. AR12 now gathering into the hand side, finding the berries. So Rush would be an option, but I think AR12 will go for the man-at-arms here. I don't think it goes straight archers with Mayans. That's a bit risky, especially against a civ likely to go scout like Tatars here. So populations are pretty darn similar. Ant-Man will wall off this side for sure. Got a bit lucky with the wood line here. There's no opening, so you could just use the natural barriers here and drop another house on some palisades, and his side over here is fine. Left side looks okay as well. A house here maybe for purposes, but we'll need to know, of course, that there's an opening in the back here. Doesn't seem to be an issue. But AR12 sneaky boy tries to snag 2 sheep here. Ant-Man sends a villager to chase. What happened to his scout? It's over here. I think he'll reclaim them. Should be okay. Finds one. But at the cost of idling one villager here who might as well wall while she's over here, I guess. But that's some extra frustration to attend to as AR12 loops back and will kill the sheep. So one less sheep for the Tatars to exploit here for the extra food. All in all, not a big loss though. It just sets you back towards a bit closer to what your actual eco would have been as a generic civ. Losing 150 food there. Both players up to the feudal age. Ant-Man going at 20 pop, AR12 at 22, and considering they are so alike, that's a bit surprising to me. That must have been either a villager lost or some idle time here for the Ant-Man that I didn't quite notice. because that's only one population difference. Actually, two villagers difference, so that's pretty huge. Maybe AR12 was able to cause some serious idle time. I like the call of Ant-Man going for the militia or the angry housewives here though, because he's most certainly expecting and maybe even seeing the barracks of AR12 here, expecting them to come. There we go. Will even stop one of these angry housewives from moving out, and now runs back to hopefully surprise AR12 in terms of, no, never mind, AR12 sees the barracks, so won't be any surprises after all. Eagle Scout may go down though, 3 vs 3, but more HP on AR12 Scout could be his fight with proper micro here. So is it going to be Archer's follow-up for the Ant-Man as well though, or will he wall off and try for a fast castle here? Seems a bit greedy, but also within its potential. Not really getting the heal bonus here with Tatars. A little bit of... there we go. Yeah, so finally gets a little bit of height advantage here with Tatars and cleans up all the AR12's units before they can reach Ant-Man's base. Good work there, even though losing the scout. Stays with 2 military now, the military count is 2-0. And even though these guys are weak, they could still find a way into AR12's base and be generally annoying. Ant-Man has been scouting before, I assume. Let's see. So he knows that's a potential opening. There we go. Going to not challenge that villager. Ooh, what's that for, Horek? One villager chasing here for some reason. What's the play with this one, AR12? Yeah, Archer is out. These are so weak. They won't really be able to cause anything else than delaying AR12's archers from moving forward here. Keeps it alive though. That's going to be valuable as sort of a scout here. This angry house over here, and Ant-Man follows up with archers of its own. Just one range though, and I'm assuming AR12 is with 2 ranges and the cheaper archers with Mayans. Actually only 1 range as well, so okay, they're mirrored in the approach here in terms of ranges then. Villager counts pretty even as well, although Ant-Man is 1 behind. So may have had some idle time or something, but the walls seem to be in place. At least more or less here, no openings as far as I can see. I love the positioning of this archer though to punish this walling here, stay here and make sure that the full walls are not yet an option. The 2 numbers mirrored again. This feels a lot slower than the Empire Wars game, but I think it's just because there's so many more events to follow in Empire Wars. And it's Ant-Man being the aggressor now. It's his home map after all. But you really need to deal that early damage to Mayans, and Ant-Man's militia didn't really do anything but delay the forward aggression of AR12. AR12, granted, didn't really deal any damage either, but he is with a villager lead here. Something you can't really look away from. Could be that Wheelbarrow is in for Ant-Man, not really, so he must have had some serious food issues or idle time here, because he's in fact behind by a couple of numbers here. Walls not complete for AR12 though. Does the Ant-Man see this to the left? Yes and no. May be able to stop the last bit of walling here, but I think AR12 is going to plug this last gap here. 9 to 8. AR12 has the numbers, but it doesn't have skirms. And upgrades are the same here, so they so that the fight Ant-Man should win, given that he has more skirmishers in the mix here. It's a pity that Ant-Man doesn't have scouting on this side, because if it looped around, it'd still find an opening here and could damage a wood line. But of course, when you see these walls like this, you would expect that this is either a wood line, chunky wood line that goes all the way, or that there's some form of wall over here. So without the scout to actually do that work, Ant-Man does right in staying close to where he actually has line of sight and some control over what's happening. A little bit of forward here for AR12 now, going to look for the openings. Could try and sneak through one of these stray palisades maybe. And let's see how Ant-Man reacts to this. May need to pull the army back home now. AR12 is with 13 to 9 overall, but here comes the house to keep that aggression out, no problem. Lots of farms for the Ant-Man here now. There has to be a cavalry follow-up to this, with this kind of investment into food. 8 on gold, 22 on food. Has to be the knights here from Tatars. AR12, on the other hand, is actually quite heavy on the farms as well. So maybe I'm mistaken after all, but looking at the ecos, more food overall in the bank for the Ant-Man. I'm not seeing any stables dropped yet, but it could also be to facilitate multiple TC production, of course. Bit of a passive game in this set. They're both waiting for the cast stage to kick in, which is going to be roughly at the same time. Villager numbers 42 for both, and just assuming now that both had wheelbarrow before going up with the amount of farms they have. 61 population, 42 villagers, 19 military. It doesn't get closer than this. And roughly the same map control as well. AR12 with better options for gold though, because the Ant-Man, he will be losing access to gold at home once this one is depleted, because this is out of bounds from his walled-in base. Crossbow is in, the university is up as well. I think that would suggest an early ballistics for the Ant-Man here, but AR12 is going for the eco play here, as Ant-Man is going into as many upgrades for the army as possible. Getting the second defense even will then, in that case, have the edge over AR12, if not in numbers, so in upgrades. Crossbows may break through here though. That could be devastating for the Ant-Man over here, because this farm eco is so exposed. Puts up a gate though, going to keep that aggression temporarily out, but as a result has to send most of all the army back home here. Tries for a market wall here, but the cost of losing at least one villager, potentially 2 here, and that market should go down as well. That's weak. You should just target that and steal that wood off Ant-Man here, in my opinion. Just a few shots away, considering that the unfinished buildings have limited armor. 10 skirms though against 8 crossbows, but they are fuel age skirms with cast age upgrades. Interesting trade here. That's a good move of Ant-Man sending only the skirms back there and keeping the crossbows somewhat forward, taking this bonus cheap off the TCs as well. TC, not TCs. Oh, one look at the split here. Going for a surround on AR12, this small group of crossbows here. I think that's going to be a kill, finally. Good move. Middle presence for Ant-Man here is taking what control he can over the middle resources here. Chasing these crossbows for a while, but now not committing to taking out the last two. AR12 takes walling all towards the edge here still. Arguably a bit weak with these palisades here. But now look at the numbers. Elite Skirm is in. It is not Elite Skirm for the Ant-Man, so as of now, AR12's army is most definitely stronger. Looks like he may be missing the second armor upgrade still, but in terms of numbers and the fact that they are Elite Skirms, it should still be better off for AR12. Siege Shot could be working wonders for the Ant-Man here though. If he gets a nice mangonel shot or such in. Looking at the economy, just adding a few cav archers to raid these exposed resources could be an option as well. Stone exposed, DC, and gold exposed over here. Potentially a little bit of the woodline here as well.
Hazır.
21 against 20 something here. AR12 with a slight military lead here. But look at the barracks going up. He's definitely thinking about that eagle switch here. And will Ant-Man suspect that? Tatars, they stop at long swordsmen, if I don't remember wrongly. Stopped at 200 swordsmen as well, so their infantry is limited.
Emriniz.
So they would have to be creative in terms of countering eagle warriors from the enemy.
Hazır.
Defense, similar stats on the archers and skirms here as well. Pretty mirrored approach, but here comes the mangonel. Let's see if there's a hit. Well, one is better than nothing. Gets some nice pickoffs here, and the KD is 16 to 13 in Ant-Man's favor here, but gets evened out rather quickly here. Sneaky attack round there, but doesn't quite hit. But now it's Ant-Man on the move and chasing and on the forward here. Military numbers still pretty darn similar, but Ant-Man is falling behind in militaries here. He is with 2 TCs only, surprisingly enough. No, sorry, that's the third one there, just went up apparently. And AR12 has been on 3 TCs for a while already. That could be huge for the mines here, especially considering that mines resources last longer. That delays the fact that you will be, of course you need to migrate into the middle for the gold, but it means that your gold access at home will last 15% longer as well, so it's not as much of a rush as for the more generic opponents without that kind of bonus. Look at the eagle switch though, that's going to counter siege, that's going to counter skirmishers, that's going to counter archers. So that's a great switch by AR12, and especially if it's hidden away so Ant-Man can't see it, that could totally shift the favors of this game in terms of military numbers. If you look at AR's eco as well, none on gold right now though, so you'll need gold, desperately need gold for Eagle Warriors to work out here, but now with a few Eagle Warriors here together with the archers, and to probably try and protect some kind of drop-off point in the middle here. Mangonels try some sneaky shots there, don't quite succeed. AR12 only knows of one town center and the workshop here. That said, none of the players have any castle presence in the middle either. AR12 with lots of stone could drop 2 castles almost instantly here. And it's dropping an outpost for Vision here to follow Ant-Man's expansion as well. Nice, splitting up the forces here, sending the eagles into idle Ant-Man and stop that house from going up. Village counts evening out a little bit here now. Ant-Man still with a positive KD, but will be losing both mangonels here from the looks of it. Imperial H is on the way for the Ant-Man, though that's not gonna be an Arbalest because Tatars don't get those. But maybe has some other tricks up his sleeve here. I'm not sure what Imperial H is gonna give Ant-Man here. Doesn't even know that Tatars don't get Arbalest. He's suiciding the army here, but has one stable here. I'm not sure what Ant-Man's plan is here. He could go into Kashyyyks from the castles as well, they create rather quickly, but he desperately needs an answer to the Eagle Warriors here, and the Archers and Skirms certainly won't provide that. I think Ant-Man made a mistake going Imperial Age here. He's losing military and doesn't really have anything to back it, but he will be imp and he will be able to trap this castle down if he can somehow defend it from eagles, that is. Bodkin arrow on the castle, getting some nice hits in on the eagles here as well, and the KD is 42 to 40 here. One TC definitely rendered useless here for the Ant-Man. He's down 24 villagers here and also down in military. And if the Ant-Man can find some way in here, the eco is in serious danger as well, because if some Eagle Warriors break in here and raid this farm eco, that could be the end of these villagers over here. Let's see, Ant-Man just clicked the Imperial Age as well, still has lots of stone in the bank, so could easily drop more castles or repair this castle for all eternity. AR12's advantage being not being hit at home at all. There is an opening here though, so if Ant-Man had gone for the more mobile cavalry play or even cab archers here, would be getting some significant advantages through raiding here. Yeah, AR12 just committing to repairs for now. Still has a while to go to the Imperial Age, but once that is in, Travelers will be a fact. And the castle is addressing this TC anyway, so that one's useless for the Ant-Man. The Ant-Man is back on 2 TCs from what I can see. He's going into the Knights switch. Tatars get Cavalier as well, so that's not a bad move. Knights should do decent against Eagle Warriors as well. But let's see the stats here. Yeah, full defense, missing the offense. But here comes another castle to deny more gold off the middle from the Ant-Man here. And once Imperial Age kicks in, AR12 will have a very strong economy to back multiple trebuchets if needed, or once the gold eco kicks in, could spam a lot more eagles, get into Elite Eagle rather easily here with Mayans, and probably get to Eldorado too for more HP, ending up with almost 100 total, I think. Also preparing pikemen here, going to go into Hald, maybe against the cavalry switch of the Ant-Man. Seems like AR12 is always like one step ahead here. He is, with military numbers lead here, is going into preemptively into pikemen here. Looks like Captram 2 BC Tram is in the making as well. Cavalier on the way for the Ant-Man, so is the defense upgrade. For now, he still has access to the middle as well. The second castle comes up here right next to the previous one, and more trebs could come out. But the eco looks fragile here for the Ant-Man. It's down almost 40 villagers and will struggle to recover from this as long as AR12 can keep repairing the castle, get those trebs out and start challenging castles. Conscription on the way for AR12. It's going to boost that eagle creation time and all the other stuff as well. Queuing trebs out of both castles from what I can see, but this castle is a goner now, unless something miraculous happens to these villagers. Skirms won't do much against Cavalier either. They will just deal 1 damage or so per shot, maybe 2. No unique tech for the Ant-Man, it's probably not being prioritized with the current eco, but Tatar Strabs, they get +2 range if you research Teamrid Siegecraft from their castles. I don't see any raids happening here. This could be an entry point for raids once the TC is up though, because there will be openings around the town center openings. And not a full building foundation like it is now. Ant-Man's numbers are increasing now, 29 to 48 military cavalry is strong in this setup, but there are still halberdiers in the mix for AR12, only missing the last attack upgrade now, and should be chewing up these cavalier no problem. Both castles lost for AR12 though, and Ant-Man keeps his own up for now, running out of stone though, that's going to be an issue. Cavaliers should deal with the Captarans no problem here. Looks like the Cavaliers are holding up decent against these small trickles of halberdiers here. The halbs are missing the attack upgrade after all, so that makes them slightly less efficient. Captran will try to deal with some trebs here. That's only a few shots and we take out trebs here. 3 shots looks like. Oh, he missed. Yeah, all the action is going down in the middle. Meanwhile, AR12 has extending a little bit out here, is with 4 TCs done, whereas Ant-Man has 2 at home and still the 1 in the middle. So Wildrevise AR12 is ahead, but Ant-Man is catching up again, trying to get back to that 120 plus number. AR12 seems to be regaining ground though, is missing castles in the middle, doesn't have the stone for now to drop a castle, and it's committing mainly to trash now, maybe to conserve gold for Eagle raids or something. And meanwhile the Ant-Man's eco looking pretty similar as well, could be closer to dropping the next castle and taking some middle control again, but there's some trades back and forth here between the players. Running into helps won't help Ant-Man at all, of course, but he has gold eco here for now. He could easily keep going for the Cavalier here, no problem. It seems like a waste of rams here. They will try to deal with the castle. Siege ram would be optimal here for the AR12, but that's not being allowed with the current food count. Looking at the population though, that's a huge factor here, that AR12 is pop capped and the Ant-Man most certainly isn't. He's almost 80 population behind there, or 60 population behind. The crossbows and the halbs here. We'll be seeing arbs being teched here as well, maybe. Definitely no obsidian arrow here for AR12 at this point, but population numbers matter here. Here come the Cavaliers again. They will have to deal with the rams under the castle, and the flow of capped rams just keeps coming here. If this castle goes down, it's looking tough for Ant-Man's position in the middle here. Is down. Military is producing less overall. It's going into elite curve now to deal with crossbows, soon to be halbs from, soon to be arbs from AR12 here. Still a castle on the hill for AR12 as well, so there he could make some trebuchets to push from the bottom. Steady trickle of halberdiers here to protect the trebs from being taken out by Cavalier, and well on the way to reclaim the middle for good here, AR12. 49 to 20 military, that's a huge factor there, having the numbers, and then population is increasing for the Ant-Man. What kind of units is he going for? He's going ranged units. That has to be the skirms, because he is going to struggle for gold very soon. Even if he keeps the TC up, he will probably have to garrison later to save his units, and if TC goes down, he won't have a drop-off point for resources, so bad roll. Elite Skirms will deal with halves though, so that's a good addition. They deal with the ARBs as well. But here comes some more Eagles into the mix. AR12 has the gold eco back and running now. 29 gold, 50 on food. It's still only Eagle Warriors, but Elite is on the way, and if you can even get to the El Dorado in the end, you'd have extremely tanky Eagle Warriors to go for the raids. Eco very exposed for the Ant-Man as well. If AR12 gets to the numbers, could easily split up some Eagles here and there and get some easy kills, but for now, AR12 keeps the villager lead by 15-16 here, takes down one castle, keeps supplying cat rams, and siege ram is on the way as well. Populations evening out yet again. The Ant-Man is struggling for military, still low, 40-16 here. Bringing in some Cavaliers. Here's El Dorado even on the way for AR12. I think AR12 is looking to close down this game now. Elite Eagle Warrior is in. They have 9+2 attack and some very decent Pierce armor here. With El Dorado in, they will also have 100 HP total and will be tough to stop if they run in for the raids at different stages of Ant-Man's eco here. Siege rams, no joke either. You could even put the Eagle Warriors inside the siege rams for increased speed and damage output. Or rather, quicker attack, I think. Yeah, this has to be AR12's game. A little bit back and forth here and there, but now with this push with the late game Lions with gold to access the Elite Eagles with, let's see, the HP 100 now. You simply don't deal with that with skirms. Ant-Man has a positive KD here, but here comes the siege rams to take out the very last castle, and then there's not really much left to protect against Eagle Warriors raids here. This has to be GG. Yep, last move of desperation here brings in the villagers to try and take out the rams, but there shouldn't be any way back here. Ant-Man has lost all the middle, save for one range and a couple of buildings. Siege rams are taking out castles and production both here and there, and AR12 is pop capped against a player who's down to almost 100 population here. Certainly a 2-1 for AR12 here on Ant-Man's home map. GG well played to both though. Ant-Man almost took the middle back there, but I think the crossbow play wasn't viable in the end because you don't get arbalests as Tatars. If you did, that would have been a good choice. A few cav archers added to raid the stray economy here. They could have helped out as well when AR12 was taking very much forward gold. AR12 was at 0 gold at some point, so there's absolutely potential there. But that's easy to say while watching from a neutral perspective as well. So much going on all the time. Positive KD for Ant-Man in the end, but didn't end with a score lead obviously. And fell behind map control wise and lost 11 buildings in the end. Half the army as a maximum here. And then Mayan's eco is just insane as usual. We have pretty similar uptimes again. Ant-Man with an earlier imp had some trebs out and tried to deal with AR12's castle, but didn't get enough trebs out in time to prevent the treb war and AR12 coming back into it and in the end winning the game. Even relics collected 1200 gold. Maybe not too significant on golden pit, but if you lose the middle, you at least have something to fall back on. And then the military numbers overall domination by AR12 here for this game.